Hold on 1 second, bro. There's about 3,000 people in here. We working the mic up, but right now I want you to hear the love that they're giving you.
Talk to us a little bit about your own experience, man. One of the things that you said you wanted to talk about, and we want to hear you talk about, is just how dehumanizing the solitary is. Why, on a personal level, is solitary confinement such an extreme form of torture?
Well, you know, there's few things that are more horrible than isolation, than solitary. And let me say it this way. Psychologists know about infants who are not cuddled. Now, they can get perfect nutrition, they can be changed regularly, but if they're not held, they die. Now, adults find a way to get around them. But when you are in isolation for days, for weeks, for months, for years, and in the case of some of us, like Maroon Choked, like Sundiata Kohli, for decades, while you do not die, a product does die. See, because we hunger for human contact. And it might be as simple as a conversation, a handshake, you know. The only touch you get is, you know, when you get beaten by a cop or when you're being handcuffed, something like that. It's very, very serious. And, you know, it's for good reason that under international law, solitary confinement is regarded as torture.
I think sometimes people don't appreciate just how much you lose in this. When we did the book, you were still on death row. We would touch fist through the glass. You weren't able to touch your wife, your children, your grandchildren for 30 years. There came a moment after you were moved off of death row, after you were restricted housing, where you were finally able to touch your family. You were able to hug the people you loved. I was able to see you. We were able to embrace. What does that mean to be able to do something like that? And what's at stake for the prisoners who can't do that? Because I think some people still can't wrap their minds around just how dehumanizing it is. I know you talked about the psychological dimension, but what does it mean on a more personal level?
To touch someone that you love, your wife, your child, a comrade, a friend, a brother. For me, it was indescribable. I mean, I was actually overwhelmed, emotion, feeling, and after being
in the State Correctional Institution at Mahanoy and is subject to monitoring and recording.
You know, after being in isolation for so many years, I didn't know how to handle all of that, see? Because for so many years, I had worked through glass. I hadn't been able to touch my wife, my children, my friends, anything. When I did, I think I was on sensory overload. I mean, it was so powerful that I think I pulled back, you know, and because I didn't know how to handle all of that emotion, all of that energy, you know. And, you know, when you think about it, it had become normal for me not to touch another person, even a person that I love. And I had to kind of forget that and move beyond that. And I don't know if I actually have, but I think I have.
One of the things you talked about as you were winding down your speech, or really winding up, was you left us with a sense of hope, man. I think part of what we want to talk about today is not just how to theorize about this, but how to mobilize our hope in a way that actually shuts down prisons, that actually frees political prisoners, that actually ends torture. How can we actualize that in a way that's substantive, similar to what this whole community did to help move you off of death row?
Well, I think we should understand some very simple yet powerful truths. One of those truths is that reform does not work. I mean, right, that's right. One of the themes of this conference tonight, of course, is Shut Down Attica. The Correctional Association of New York, headed by Sophia Elijah, did a study, went through Attica, and found that the conditions were very similar to what they were in 1971. And if that's the case, then we have proven the failure of reform. So it's time for some revolutionary transformations. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. And to actualize that is to build a movement that does not seek reform. Build a movement that seeks revolutionary transformation in the prison industrial complex. That doesn't mean building shinier, brighter, more painted cells. It means decarceration. It really means abolishing the idea that millions of people can be held in cages for years, for decades, for lifetimes. We cannot have that. I know many of you are on the move. Y'all doing something really, really remarkable. I think this is the beginning of the transformation that we have to create a new reality. Only people's movements can, only a radical, energized people can transform.
Midday call alert.
On the move, I love you all.
On the move.